What's up, and welcome back to another shop review. This is going to be shop review number 15, and it's Carla Murphy's shop here. And you can see that this is my Etsy print on demand group. We're at just over 21,000 members. I do have a pin post here. If you want to join the group, just look for this post, and you can drop your shop down here for me to get at it for a free 8 to 10 minute or so review. Today's shop number 15 is The Days of a Tea. So I've got it open here, but before I get into it, I just wanted to kind of go through a disclaimer, just saying that, basically two things is that nothing I say is intended to kind of be deconstructive or put you down in any way. It's all intended to be constructive. I want to give you things that you can implement now to boost your sales, right? Like, the idea is to help you achieve more and not just kind of reiterate what you're doing right already, like so many other people tend to do, right? That said, I am not going to sugarcoat anything, so it's going to be kind of real. It's first impressions off the cuff, that sort of thing. So the second thing is that nothing I say is obviously going to make you rich overnight or anything like that. There's no guarantees or anything like that. It's all a matter of how you apply what I've told you, which is a combination of my 10 years of experience with Etsy and print on demand coupled with Etsy's best practices. So that said, it's all about you and how you take what I tell you and put it into action. So thank you, Carla, for having the courage to put yourself out there in this way. It takes a lot of guts to do it, so good for you for wanting to step outside of your comfort zone there. Welcome to the Days of a Tree family. So I'm not really sure what's going on. Days of a Tree, I don't know if it's obvious yet. Made with love, it's not obvious to me what this is. I'm going to assume you're selling books and with tea or coffee. Productivity, gifts, and faith. Are you selling productivity? Are you selling gifts? Or are you selling faith? Maybe it's all three. Let's see what we got here. It's not making clear sense. So just so you know too, these like the small little letters here are not going to be legible very clearly on a mobile device. Definitely look at changing up this logo, maybe just using your tree, Days of a Tree, so because you can't really make out what's there anyway. I do like the look of the logo. I like the aesthetic. I like the muted colors. They look good. You're a star seller, so that's great. It means you're doing things exactly what it says. You're getting stuff out on time. You're replying to customer messages, which is absolutely crucial in converting those inquiries into sales. And you're getting good reviews. So that's a combination of correctly kind of displaying the product, telling people what they're going to get. It's an accurate depiction what in your shop of what people are actually receiving. And it turns out that they're loving it. So just going to go through and see what we got in terms of about. Definitely fill this out. It may not boost your sales in its own right, but it helps with your shop relevancy score according to Etsy's seller handbook. Look like you got almost 1,700 sales, so you're doing something right. Your shop announcement has been updated recently, just over 2 weeks ago, so at least it doesn't look stagnant or stale. We warmly welcome you to Days of a Tree family, to the Days of a Tree family shop hours, Monday to Friday. I haven't seen this yet. It kind of works as long you're obviously replying to messages, so it's just letting people know that you're unplugging after 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Not a bad idea. I don't know if it's going to put people off in that they can't purchase, maybe just like shop customer service hours, maybe change that just so that people don't think for some weird reason that they wouldn't be able to purchase after 4:30 p.m. right? But other than that, I mean, that's good, setting the expectation that you're going to be busy or at least not able to respond. So all JW planners, I don't know what this is about. Productivity, give some faith, JW ministry, no idea what that is. Ministry, Jehovah's Witness maybe, and Christian, I'm guessing if it's Jehovah's Witness, it's Christian. I don't know what JW is. Let's see. So we're looking at your featured items here. You're selling gifts, t-shirts. Are the t-shirts not gifts? So this is one thing I always talked about too, is you can list your shop sections by sub niche, but I wouldn't list them by product. That's completely two different things. So if you're going to be in a niche of dogs, for example, it's a dog centric store, then you can have your breeds in sub niches sort of thing. Or if it's all going to be like one big niche, but you have multiple different products, then you can sort by products, but it's all in the same niche, right? But I wouldn't kind of have the sub niches, which would be, pioneer schooling, planners and study, like these are, you're mixing kind of niches with products, and it just becomes confusing that way, because at some point you're going to wonder, like, t-shirts be gifts, or could not, for example, kid-centric stuff not also be a gift, or could a t-shirt or a Christian sweatshirt not also be, in kid sizes, right? So it's kind of like all over the place. Plus you also have very few products in a lot of these sections, so I would just condense them all. Like if you're looking at gifts, then you can combine whatever would basically apply to the gifts, right? That overarching one. So make it evident that you respect the customer's time that way. So when they're clicking on your page, if they go to Christian sweatshirts, okay, they're expecting to see sweatshirts here, but if they went to kids, oh, it's a workbook. I'm going to assume this is all Jehovah's Witness stuff. So if that's the case, just say what the product is. Workbook. Oh, it's all different things. It's not all workbooks. So it's a workbook. So these are all digital downloads, but you also have shirts. Okay, it's a little confusing. Not gonna lie, a little confusing. Not to say that it's not working. It's just hard for me to understand what's going on. So we got planners, Bible study planners. So I was checking a stat, and it was like 83.8% or just over 83% of people that shop on Etsy identify as female between the ages of 18 and 35, and they are buying gifts, a lot of them for other people, right? So if nobody knows what JW is and they just want to buy a planner for somebody as a gift, and it happens to mean something that they're not interested in, then it won't necessarily work for them, right? Truth in Focus planner, instant download. Like if you're tagging everything JW, I would put Jehovah's Witness in your banner, right? Like I would make that ultra evident, because otherwise I still don't know what JW is and why it's there. It's not your initials. So what is Jehovah's Witness? Okay, that makes more sense. So look at the search volume here. So Jehovah's Witness, people are searching 346 searches per month. JW printables, that works too. JW digital. The rest, like nobody's searching for this in a way that I would want to use my keyword real estate. Essentially you're wasting it on at least these. These are also ultra low, so maybe leave out the JW stuff. I also am curious about Jehovah's Witness. Is this not trademark? USPTO.gov is the site, so you can just go there. And then right under trademarks here, you can see search our trademark database and trademark search system. And I would flip this to expert so that we have classes we can search by, and we're going to just click this because it automatically copies, as you can see here. jw.org is live and registered. What expert? So if it's only basic, it doesn't let you select by class, only by certain numbers. But as soon as you click to expert, you can pick the desired class. So in this case it would be clothing if we were looking for clothing, and then there's also associated classes, right? So there's jewelry, leather goods, blah blah blah. You can turn off coordinated. What I need to know is planners. What class are planners? So googled what trademark class are digital downloads, and it says many downloadable digital goods are class 9. So downloadables are class 9, so we can just search, tick the 9 box here and remove this. Okay, so we've got 2 trademarks here: downloadable podcast, downloadable webcasts, downloadable goods. So I would be very careful with this. It's the word mark information. So it's mostly to do with digital media transmitting and entertainment and video, so you should be okay. But it is the Jehovah's Witness, so just be careful with your trademarks here. I don't want to see you get in any hot water. You had no sales on it anyway. But that said, I don't know if they're even going to be looking at you in terms of violating any of their intellectual property. But if, however, there happens to be any element of brand confusion, so a point where people think that this is maybe endorsed by the Jehovah's Witness entity, that would be grounds for serving you a cease and desist for sure. All here, I just wanted to, this one was featured in 19 baskets. That's great. And you've got 46 favorites. All right, analyze this listing. You got 13 sales, 4 months old. Okay, great. So this one's selling. Again, I would just be careful with the intellectual property here. I'm not sure how else you could advertise it other than the JW thing, but yeah. So that aside, I'll leave that one up to you to figure out. Let's look at your sales here, because most recent. So these will arguably be things that you've either listed or have sold recently. So let's see if this has sold. So field service notes, field service ministry journal. I'm also looking, with Everbee here, you can kind of see the search volume here for your keywords is super low. It just makes me wonder if there's a market, right? So let's look at field service journal. So is this a thing? So let's look at this. So this is you, Best Life Company. These are just getting into journal, and these guys have less than you. So you're almost an authority in this niche of Jehovah's Witness, but it's just not a lot of demand. So Nanny's digital items, JW Floral Study. Let's look at this one. Oh, and they're not even leveraging their keyword allotment. They could reach so many more people. 14 months, only 27 sales. So that's not a lot. They're not even using all of their keyword real estate. So yeah, Jehovah Planner. You could break up these keywords, and they're using stuff that has way more search volume than what you've been looking for, and they may very well not have added more because there isn't much working there, but I think they're just going quick about it. Let's look at this other one. They're not doing anything different. It's just literally 3.5 years old. So 400 times in 3 years isn't a ton. The monthly revenue, $32. It's not doing a lot. You're going to need a lot of these. And yours is in more baskets, or wasn't it? There's digital designs. So they got 18,000 sales. But if I search, oh, it's JW printables. Okay. Yeah, so literally everything is JW. Okay. Looks like she's mixing some Spanish stuff in here, so maybe you're gonna have to branch out into the Spanish community as well. I just don't see a giant demand here, so let's look for JW Field Service Journal and find out if anybody is actually making real money with this stuff. Custom leather portfolio. So these guys are doing leather, personal files, refillable. I see you anywhere in there? No, the Days of a Tree. So this is the winner for you, and you've got another one that is doing okay. Yeah, you'd have to emulate these, and what are they doing differently? I just don't know this niche enough. You're probably actually doing really well for the niche. The other shop that had 18,000 sales has been around from 2017, so 6+ years, right? Going on 7 years. One thing I will tell you is to use delimiters, so commas. So his Mercies Never End t-shirt, comma, JW Custom Gifts, comma. And you can check out why right in this video here about Etsy titles and tags. It's because when you use a comma or a different kind of punctuation followed by a space, it creates a tag that Etsy will potentially, hopefully, exact match you for, right? And what I mean by exact match is that if somebody types his Mercies Never End shirt or t-shirt, you will show up for that. JW Custom Gifts, comma, you will show up for that, right? So when you don't have any commas or delimiters breaking these up, then you will only ever broad match. So it could be his Mercies Never End Anniversary Encouragement or Pioneer Custom Gifts, right? So you can match for a mix match of words, but if you add commas in there, it creates the specific long tail keywords, and any chance you get to exact match in Etsy is ultimately more beneficial because those kinds of matches are weighted more heavily than the broad match. $22.99, delivery cost $4.75, delivery cost $4.99. So if we were to go to Printify here and t-shirts, let's see what we got here. What kind of t-shirts are you selling here? 3001. Okay, so that's more expensive of the two, or of the few. So I'll do my quick math here. Keep as profits, we got $22.99 plus the $4.75. 2299 plus 4.75 equals 2774 times 0.88 for 88% equals $24.41. So that is your take home. Now we're going to look at the 3001. Let's say you're using Monster Digital. Dark gray heather, large 913 plus 399 minus the 399 shipping minus, it looks like the shipping went down, which is nice. Again, the 913. A healthy margin of $11.29. So well done there. I thought that was priced a little low, but it looks like you're doing okay. Obviously that'll be cut down if you run a sale, but so far so good. We just got to get these to sell, right? Yeah, this search volume is what's killing me. I think it's probably doing okay for your competition. Honestly, I think you're doing all right. You know this niche better than I do. So Clam, Christian Life and Ministry, is that a thing? Clam University, 4 favorites, it's definitely a thing. So maybe Clam, such a low search volume. Maybe it's a different part of the Christian umbrella, but maybe you can just zoom out to Christian in general. That would definitely get more eyes on your prize. Otherwise, I think you're just gonna have to load this shop up with products. It's, you know, a double-edged sword that way, right? Because you could end up burning out, but it's gonna be something that I think will translate to more sales. I mean, again, you know, you've only been around for under a year and you've got the 1,700 sales in your first year. So I mean, you're doing something right in terms of a niche that has low demand. So you're on the right track, but I'm almost convinced that people are buying multiple items. So it's not how I would have set up a shop, but it is so niche that I think it could be working for you. So this is cry cut assembly activity. It's a bundle, it's printable. So what about it? Maybe you can print paper on one of them. These look good. These look good. You explain what they're for. I think you're doing really well here with that. So I don't know. Ultimately, I would say do more of what's working. It's obviously working. I don't know if you're selling much by way of garments, so I would maybe stick to the downloadables. Do variations, different designs. Like this is all downloadable other than the one for people, what people are leaving reviews. One tote bag, and you're responding to all your reviews, which is great, but it's all downloadables. And this is an actual notebook. That's an actual notebook. So yeah, you can leave stuff like that. So you can have the printables or the notebooks. But honestly, if you're going to do the printables, I mean, that's no work on your part once they're listed, right? Just keep creating new stuff. I mean, it's in demand. We look at this one, 30 printables greeting card, 8 favorites. In a year, it's only sold twice. Okay, so maybe we can break this up into a few other listings, right? So it doesn't need to be a set of 30 if no one's paying $15. Run a massive sale on this stuff. And that's the other thing, if they're downloadables, you can have like a 50% sale and just run that every day if you want. And then, you know, you're going to have that urgency and scarcity. So keep your sales short so that people see the countdown timer and like 50% off ends in, you know, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me now, so 3 o'clock, you could say, ends in 9 hours, right? People will see that, and that'll drive urgency. You could even have like a 60-70% off sale. Like, don't worry about it, because you can sell these 100 times over, right? I'd rather get $3 100 times than, you know, $15 3 or 4 times, right? Your reviews are good over and above in terms of the care, so I think you're on the right track. I really do. I just think you're going to need a lot more products, and I would probably focus on what's working. It looks like it's all the digital downloads, so just keep doing more of that. Maybe break up some of your bundles, or just add a different aesthetic, right? This is a prime example for you. You can look at like business.pinterest.com or trends.google.com. Like the business Pinterest one, because you can look for design aesthetics that are trending right now. I did a whole video on that one too. You can check out here is free niche research, and there's a good element of that talks about the aesthetics. So there's like floral aesthetics. There's certain things that are going to be hot this year that I think you can just kind of do in the backgrounds of these too, right? So instead of having, for example, just a blank page, you could have some muted pastels. We're looking like the colors, the muted, like with the comfort colors I'm wearing now. Same idea is the colors, floral patterns that are muted and kind of in the background that wouldn't take up too much or impede, you know, any kind of writing or note taking you're going to put on that, right? They're just easier on the eyes. They look prettier. You'll be able to leverage maybe another keyword in there too that might, because hibiscus, for example, is probably being searched more than any of these, quite literally. So to be able to write JW hibiscus theme life planner, right, and definitely use your commas. I think that's the biggest takeaway here, because you need to have, you know, specific, like the 2024 JW weekly life planner, comma, or weekly planner even, you could just put, and then life planner or digital life planner or printable life planner. All these things work, but break them up and write them in a way that makes sense. So it'd be like a 2024 JW weekly planner for elders, comma. That would be one big one, because that's how people would, you know, naturally search for something, right? It's like, what is it and who is it for? Even mom life, you're not going to exact match for that because there's no comma there. So if there was a comma after JW, then at least mom life is its own tag for which you could match for. Because if we search mom life, for example, I don't think you have it in here, JW mom planner. But if we went with, and we can go mom life planner. Yeah, so now, you know, you're using some heavier keywords that are coming with a lot more competition, but that's great. So life planner, like look at these, you know, this is what you want right here. You want to be in competition with these guys, because shying away from, you know, competition is not a way to make money. So put yourself right out there with these. You're offering something unique, and that is Jehovah's Witness centric. So, you know, you're setting yourself apart that way, but you're also going to show up in search results for these guys, which is awesome. Let's look at product analytics, and look at this. So this is mom life planner showing me 70 listings here, and these guys are making a killing. So look at some of the keywords, at some of the stuff that makes sense for what you're doing, and see how you can incorporate the Jehovah's Witness element to that. I think you can probably blow this up really, really quickly just by leveraging a little bit more heavily searched keywords, right? And then, you know, advertise your stuff. It would be nice to see you show up at least for one item up here, right? So I would run ads on your, you know, top 5 sellers. Maybe set it to like whatever you can afford to do right now. Looks like you're making enough sales to afford some ad budget. So maybe go with, you can start with $5 a day. Just leave it for a month and see what happens, right? Because all it would take is for you to sell one of these. It's a download. So you'd be square on your daily ad spend if you even spend that much. And I don't think you're going to burn through that whole $5 anyway, because you're not using any high octane keywords really. So the goal would be to add some of those so that Etsy does use some of your budget, so that hopefully you get a bigger budget allotment, so you're allowed to spend a little more. And ideally, you know, you're going to get the ROAS, or the return on ad spend. So I think you're doing a great job. I don't really have much else for you. Being that the niche is this small and specific, I feel like, you know, your sales are speaking volumes to what you're doing and your wherewithal within the niche, right? You understand it, you know it, and I think that's evident. But based on your reviews, based on the star seller, like people are happy with this stuff, right? The intent was not to stroke egos and tell you what you're doing right, but there's not a lot going wrong here. And I mean, to have that many sales in such a small niche in under a year is admirable, to be honest. So well done. Looks good. It looks like you're on the right track, and you know, thanks for having the courage to put yourself out there. It takes a lot to step out of your comfort zone again, so good for you. So thanks again for having the courage. This looks great. Good job. And just a reminder to everybody else out there, if you want to get your shop reviewed in like this kind of fashion, then go to my Etsy print on demand Facebook group, look for that post in the featured post that has my big ugly face on it, and you can drop your shop in the comments below, and I'll get to it eventually.